Echo with Sheer Value Property Management, and thank you so much for joining me for a minute of sheer value. Today we have Mr. Richard DeLuna from Tenants Insurance, and we're going to bring you a minute of information about insurance from the property management perspective for a landlord and a tenant. So without further ado, let's get into it. Richard, thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure.
Let's take this first part from a landlord's perspective. So as a landlord, why is property insurance important for me?
Well, short story, to protect your investment, and our job is to help you find the right coverage with the best value.
Awesome. Okay, so what type of coverage should I be looking for as a landlord?
Well, with insurance, I like to say it's like a snowflake. No two people are the same, and so your coverage is the same way. Each property has a unique set of circumstances. For example, maybe if you're renting a vacant or an unfurnished home, you definitely want to cover the home itself and your personal liability. But maybe in the case of a short-term rental like an Airbnb, you've probably got a lot of personal property in there you want to make sure is covered as well.
Okay, so when I'm looking at that policy, what are some specific details that I should pay close attention to?
Well, first, is this policy at replacement cost, and is that the right amount of coverage? Second, does this policy cover my personal liability? Third, does this policy contain coverage for water-related losses like burst water heaters, or like we had in the instance of a few weeks ago, all those temperature extremes with the freezing causing burst pipes within the walls and stuff like that? Is your policy going to perform in an event, when an event like that happens? And then lastly, does this policy cover loss of rents? Is there a what if there's a fire and your tenant has to move out? Is your policy going to help reimburse you for that lost income?
Okay. And as a landlord, do I care if my tenants have a policy?
Absolutely. You definitely want to separate your liabilities. In addition to that, each renter's policy comes with personal liability, just like yours does. And that personal liability portion provides coverage for damages and bodily injury that the tenant might be, held liable for. For example, maybe a fire or something.
Awesome. Okay, so I think that kind of covers us from a landlord perspective. Let's move on to the tenant perspective. So as a tenant, why should I have insurance?
First of all, you want to protect your stuff and your wallet. Your renter's policy will come with personal property protection and also liability coverage that might back you up for things that you might be held accountable for. For example, maybe you left a barbecue pit on too close to the house and maybe there's some smoke damage or a fire.
Okay, so that sounds like if I'm in a house, maybe I need coverage, but what if I live in an apartment complex?
Absolutely necessary. In addition to covering your personal property and your liability, each renter's policy has a clause in there called loss of use. And what that's going to do is help reimburse you for food and lodging expenses if you're not able to live in that apartment due to a covered loss. We've all seen the tragedy of apartment fires on the news, and that coverage right there will really back you up if you ever find yourself in a situation like that.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so if I'm looking at the tenant's policy, right, the renter's insurance policy, what specific details should I pay close attention to?
Does this policy adequately cover my stuff? Does this policy at replacement cost or actual cash value? Replacement cost coverage is going to help replace your items with today's like and same kind of quality, but an actual cash value policy is going to depreciate your items like computers and TVs based upon the age.
Okay, so bottom line, big question, how much is this insurance going to cost me?
Most renters' policies are very inexpensive, and they start at about $15 a month. But hey, like I used earlier with the snowflake analogy, maybe you've got more stuff you want to cover.
Awesome. Richard, thank you so much for being with us. If anyone out there has any questions about insurance, how can they contact you to ask you?
Oh man, we're always available. Feel free to give our office a call at 210-775-0572. Sorry about that, guys.
No worries.
Feel free to ask for me directly. However, all of our staff are fully licensed and expertly trained.
Richard, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed